All right, let's get into our discussion now. The strike by the judiciary workers nationwide has now entered its 14th day, and as activities in courts remain grounded, the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria has directed its members across the country to hold a peaceful protest today to press home its demand for financial autonomy for the judiciary. The leaders of the union decided to embark on the protest after representatives of state governors and the federal government abruptly called off a scheduled meeting with them on Thursday. They say the strike will continue until the government meets their demands. That's the crux of what we'll be discussing this morning on the first segment of the show. So joining me to talk about this is a lawyer, Olatunbosun Oshifoora. It's good to have you join me right now.
Good morning, nice
Great.
to be here.
Very good. And we also have a strategy consultant, Dikbo Oyewole. Dikbo, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Great to see you.
Good to be here.
Great. Now, let me start with you, Bosun. This issue has been on, and several meetings have been, scheduled, and the other ones couldn't result into anything. But the one that was supposed to hold now has been, postponed indefinitely, as it is. Now, talk to us basically, what is really going on with this issue of financial autonomy for the three arms of government that is already guaranteed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, yet the implementation is becoming one thing back on the fourth thing.
It's very sad that this is where we are at this time in this nation. Let's do a bit of academics. All right.
Okay. Take us to the classes.
All right. Now, so if you look at the Constitution, the Constitution is supreme, and the provisions of the Constitution is supreme over any individual, over anybody, or even government at all levels. Now, so if you look at Section 4, Section 4 created the legislative arm of government, Section 5, the executive, Section 6, the judiciary. Now, so, and in creating all these different arms of government, it is given, the Constitution also states how they will run, what they will do, and what monies come to them. Now, so if you go further to Section 81, talks about the consolidated federation account.
Yes. In
subsection 3 of 81, it says that there are certain bodies that their money should go to them directly. INEC, the National Assembly, and the judiciary. Their money should go to them straight from the consolidated federation account. Now, if you go to section 121, sub 3, it says there's a consolidated account for states. The money should go to them directly. That's how it is.
So it's clear how that should be.
It's clear there's no mincing words. Right. But unfortunately, monies go to the appropriate bodies, except the judiciary. Now, so, and every day we come here and we tell you the judges write in long hands, this is not adequate, there are not enough courts, there are no this, there are no that. Now, with all due credit to the president of this country, Muhammadu Buhari, 2020, he signed an executive directive. Order 10, order number 10.
Yes.
That this thing should be done the way the Constitution, fine, the Constitution has already given the provision, but he still went either, okay, this is an executive order, let these things be done immediately. And everybody clapped for the president. Now the problem now came with the governors. The governors came, in fact, last week when this thing was on, I think it was the NGF Fayemi didn't talk. Yeah. He left it to Lalong. Then Lalong came and said, well, it's
that's the governor of Plateau State.
Yes. He said that it's not as if the governors are opposed to this thing. In fact, the governors are championing this cause, but there should be some processes in place. Okay. What process? Come on, the judiciary, this thing is likened to...
The Constitution is clear about this.
The Constitution is clear. Everything is clear. So, you know what the governors are trying to do? It's like, a visitor comes to your house and gives your child money. Say, okay, I'll use this junior
to buy biscuits
or biscuit. Then the mother now takes it and say, okay, I will structure it for you. come on, the judiciary. That's basically what's playing.
Our mothers have collected so much money from us. I remember. Mommy will use it to buy biscuits for you. Now, Dikpo, from the eyes of the governors, from what Bosun has said, what do you think is going on here when the governors are supposed to be the next chief executive after the president, who are supposed to help implement this across the country?
I think it's about control.
It's power and control.
It's a power play. That's how I see it, because I mean, in all facets of life, money is really key. Whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. Now, in the case of the judiciary, don't automatically get to do that. But I believe that some of them feel that that kind of influence they get them some kind of goodwill or some kind of influence, which I think it is quite appalling in a democracy. And I think this issue around having the judiciary have their money run by them independently is a conversation that is long overdue. Because I think it is quite embarrassing when you have certain judges and then they have certain issues in their courtroom. Maybe the power is out and then they're scampering around for diesel. The ACs are working, and then they're saying, okay, oh, we don't have any money to fix that. And then they say, okay, we can't sit. And then their aides say they can't sit. And it is quite embarrassing. But yes, I believe that it is a form of control that they're trying to enforce. And I think that a lot more people should lend their voices to this issue, because either we like it or not, the judiciary anywhere around the world is the last saving grace of the common man. And now, if we're having that stifled,
it is the third arm of government.
It is literally the third arm of government. So
if there's no judiciary, in fact, there's no government if there's no judiciary.
So you can't. So the kind of influence you think you want to throw around with the judiciary, could you have thrown it around with the legislature? Could you have thrown it around with the presidency? Because they are the other arms of government. So you have to give the judiciary their own due in terms of respect and resources that they need to function as part of the third arm of the government.
All right, Bosun, if we have to paint a picture, let us assume that we've gone past the governors now. Let's assume we've gone past the governors and this has been approved. And now the judiciary gets its resources as first-line charge. What will really change? What's that scenario? What would it look like?
A lot will change. Let me tell you how bad it is. I was talking with a sister friend of mine. She works in a neighboring state. She's a judicial officer. And we're talking, and she said that, do you know that stationery, they have to write to the governor of the state. Then the governor will refer them to
stationery like this?
Paper.
Like paper.
And biro.
Wow.
And stapler.
Yes. The judiciary will write, from the office of the CJO, they'll write to the governor. The governor will mail it to the DFA, that's Director of Finance. Then that one will write back to the governor, then for biro and paper. Now, so imagine you now talking about court going electronic.
Yeah.
That one, they'll set up a committee for you.
Of course.
That's how bad it is. So every day we cry that justice delayed is justice denied. There's this, there's that. Judges writing longhand. Kudos to Lagos State. I mean, if there's any state that is blazing the trail, but we're still behind on, we travel, we go to other clients, and we see what it is. In fact, I trained on the Candy Johnson SAN, and one of the things he told us then when we were young, that anytime you have the opportunity to travel, don't just go junketing. Go to the courts.
Yeah.
I mean,
see what is obtainable.
So I try to do that everywhere. I've been to a few countries, and I go there. I look at it. I almost shed tears. Like, is this what we're doing here is child's play compared to what a court should be. I'll give you another instance. During this lockdown, there was we had something in the house. My wife had to. There was a case in the U.S. So right in the sitting room. She sat there, did all the case, 3 days, and they sent the judgment to them. They had like 8 or 9 witnesses. Everything was done electronically. She did it right in the living room, and that's it. Now, but here, sometimes we've had to park cars and take taking bike, because that's the only way you can get to court on time. Now, the roads are, I'm not even talking about roads now, I'm talking about what concerns the court. The atmosphere is not conducive. A lot of times the judges will tell you the power is out, like Dikpo said, then take off your wigs and gown, because you would die of heat. But the judge will still maintain
their own
That
rules.
is not the way it should be. Look at how the legislations are enjoying.
Yes.
Look at where the president sits. Look at the Constitution says that this money should be handed over to the heads of courts in all those places. Now, so it should be handed to Judicial Commission, then it should be given to the heads of court. They know the problem. They know where the shoe
At least
pinches.
within the judiciary system, there are
I
chains.
wonder what process
that.
Long or the NGF, I don't know what process they want. Again, maybe they want, with all due respect, you know how things work.
Maybe they
in
want a
Nigeria.
committees
Committees to do what?
committee
Do you know
look
what
at
the court
process.
does? The court determines people's lives. The judge is the court. The judge is called my lord. Now, so if my lord is under
Duress.
conditions, under duress,
Hi.
then what kind of things, I mean, what kind of system do you want to create? We see these things every day. People complain every day, yet the governors are frustrating these people. So, I mean, which country? I'll give you another example. I have 3 clients abroad, and they called me like, lawyer, how far, this is the week for adjournment. I said, the courts are on strike. I had to munch and send some things to them. One of the clients said, only in Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Courts are on
That was
strike.
what she just said, only in Nigeria. And we haven't spoken since then. Where do you hear that courts go on strike?
on strike.
But if they don't, this is the time, they've done this thing in 2015. Now, they are back at 2021. That's why they are standing on all fours that if we don't get it right now,
Take another
this thing will
8
slip
years.
again. So if the governor who said they want to put in place processes, you come up and tell us what process you want to put in place. You don't just say processes. What are processes? What do you want? Fiscal responsibility. The court knows everything about everything. The court determines everything. These are heads of homes and institutions. Are you telling me they can't manage funds? That's basically, so it's an affront to the court, it's an affront to the judiciary.
In fact, whether they are able to manage or not able to manage is a constitutional issue.
Exactly.
Yes.
The Constitution has said, give them their money. Their money is due them, so give it to them.
Meanwhile, you take your own money. Nobody queries you.
In fact, let them mismanage them. We can set up a committee to look into. EFCC is there now. ICPC is there and all of that. Now, the point there is, Dipo, I wonder what impact this is having. Like he said, someone is saying only in Nigeria this happens. In fact, we've not heard this happen in South Africa or in some African countries. In Nigeria, this happens. What overall image does this give to us when we pride ourselves as giant of Africa and stuff? But so don't laugh now. Don't laugh.
So interesting, we got the same reaction. Right? So I will say this because oftentimes when we have these conversations, especially on this platform or others, a lot of people say, okay, you're into nation bashing and all of that. It isn't about nation bashing. I think it is quite frustrating when we say we're the giant of Africa and then certain simple things we cannot get right. We have an arm of government that we treat like the red-headed stepchild. They're not given their funding. They're treated with a lot of disdain, disrespect. They carry out their own operations in some form of discomfort or the other, where the other two, those have the same complaint. So the question is, are we really in a democracy? What examples are we really setting? Like he said, now he has clients abroad who have judgments they're expecting in Nigeria. He won't be the only lawyer in Nigeria. There are a lot of people who are Nigerians or foreigners who have cases in courts and waiting for an expected date. Some of them have it concerning their businesses. Okay, some of them could involve banks. Some of them could involve loans. The longer the judgment takes, the more money they get to spend. They get to pay him his own fee, and then they get to pay a lot more interest on the bank loans or whatever it is about. Some of them have issues in probate courts. Some of them have issues in ranging from all sorts of issues, domestic issues, criminal issues.
Yeah.
And then we have people that are detained that don't get to have their court dates, and then we hear people that they are in certain prisons or jails for 4, 5, 6 years, and these are part of the issues. Until we understand that the judiciary is truly an independent arm of government that shouldn't be treated with such disdain, and treated in a way that you believe that you can stifle them or control them in any way, shape, or form. Either it is by resources or it is by any form of fiat whatsoever. I think that we will still keep having these conversations, but I think that it is time that they actually stand their ground and say that enough is enough. You can't tell me that you want to have certain processes in place. What are those processes? Let us have it lined out. You were supposed to have a meeting with them on Thursday. You didn't come with those processes. You ended up postponing the meeting. So indefinitely. Indefinitely. So you see that they're operating in bad faith. That's why I said that I believe that it's some form of control and it's a power play. And I think that it is quite it is a way to sabotage our democracy. I'll just say that.
There's a larger implication.
Yeah.
There are cases that are time bound.
Exactly.
And strike or no strike, once your time is out, I mean, if I'm your opponent, you're supposed to do something within 7 days.
Yes.
Then this happens. It's a
On
plus
technical
one.
It's just not.
You just knock
not.
it off.
So you come and start telling the court, he was
on strike.
My lord, you know you were on strike that time.
It's the government that is frustrating the system. And these are people that we elected into these offices who are supposed to make life better for us, but they're making life very difficult. Frustrating the system, frustrating the people. Like Jikpo said, there are people in prison who have court dates. There are bail applications out there. You have messed up.
Made a nonsense of everything.
Their system. You've messed up their lives, because for every adjournment you have like a month, some two. Just bail application that is supposed to be argued, then somebody, imagine you being wrongly taken into custody. Now tomorrow is your bail application date.
So they're on strike.
Then they're on strike. So until they come back, then they give you a new date, which is another 1, 2, 3 months from now. Come on.
But so how helpless is the court in this case? Because the Constitution, I'm looking at the Constitution standing and just watching Nigerians. I'm personifying the Constitution just watching, waiting for the 3 arms of government to do all the needful, all the things written inside of it, just waiting. Okay, you take this one and do, you take the, I've specified it. How helpless is the judiciary in this kind of state?
You know, law is a very noble profession. And we've seen legislators climb fence, jump fence, you know, do all sorts of things. But you can't find that with lawyers. In fact, they called for protest. I was somewhere over the weekend with some of my colleagues, and they were like, they said we should go and protest. So one said, are we carrying out, are we gang? So I can't do that. I can't do. I mean, you know, it's a gentle profession. It's a noble profession. Like, we can't come out and start making noise, jumping, breaking bottle, jumping fence, and doing this. Unfortunately, I mean, with all due respect to the legislators, then the executive, they have the power, they have everything. The judiciary is almost helpless. And meanwhile, when there's a problem, it's this same judiciary
everybody runs to.
When they have issues with their election results.
So it's a case of, I used to have this young guy when in my former church. One day we were talking, and he was saying that, bros, I do everything for everybody in my house, and they all get happy, but I mean, they're all happy, but me, I'm here, nobody's making me happy. That who will brighten the sun? Now the sun is brightening everybody. Wow. Who will brighten the sun? And that's where the judiciary is right now. We're giving light, giving life to everybody, but nobody's helping out the judiciary. And unfortunately, we can't do more than, this is the best they could do. What else would they do? Will judges, I mean, they will just go home and just hope that things will happen.
What's the role of the NBA in all of this?
The NBA can't do much than just...
Well, they are meant to be like the pressure group.
They're a pressure group, and they can only apply as much pressure. They can't do more than they're doing. I mean, you have to, I told you, it's a noble profession. We can't do more than talk. We can't do more than just call people that, okay, please do this the right way. This is the way it is. Now, the only place we could go to enforce this thing is to go to the court. Now, the courts are
on strike.
Locked. They're locked up. So, where do you go? We go to God, or we look up, or we go to the people. Then we can't incite the people, say, CEO, there's a problem. But I think with awareness like this, we have to tell the people there's problem. Yes. There are things that even you need to do. Banks will tell you, go bring affidavit.
Where do you get it? Where do you get that?
They'll tell you, okay, go do this, go do that. Get
have
certain
documents notarized.
You can't do that. So the nation is gradually winding down with this strike. It looks like, oh, the lawyers, they're just there. But in another 2 weeks, we will feel the economic impact.
Of this,
Yes.
the implication of the fallout of this. Dick, recall that it was the president who, on his own, decided to sign the Executive Order 10.
Yes.
And at the point of implementation, governors paid a visit. Somehow it changed. But let us... Don't laugh now. Don't laugh. Let us assume that he has the mind and the will to carry this out.
Yes.
Now he's seeing whatever is going on. What do you think the president can do, or the presidency or the federal government can do in this, seeing that they originally have the intention and the will to carry this out?
Well, I would have thought that for some reason he would have called the governors and had a conversation with them and asked them, what's the problem? There's a reason why it's called an executive order. You also need to respect that branch of government and that kind of document. Because, so if you don't honor documents like that, and then we have people ignoring certain orders, certain laws, we fall into lawlessness, either we like it or not. That's where it starts from. So now the president has signed an executive order, and then you're stalling with his execution, and then he isn't also saying anything. So the question now is, was the order just for show? Or was it just to say that my hands are clean? No. It's to say that this ought to be done. I have signed it as an order. It should be done. I think that it's high time that the president calls the governors and has a conversation with them. That give them an ultimatum. Within the next 7 days, I want this sorted out. And we don't want all these issues around the strikes and all that, because it is really embarrassing. And truth be told, right, if this was close to election season, we would not be having this issue. So that tells you the gross insincerity we're having with this entire conversation. Because, I mean, they would have wanted to be in their good graces and say that, I don't know if maybe I'll have any cause issue with my elections that is coming up. So I'd want to sort it out so that they'll remember that, oh, you were the governor that helped us pay. I mean, it is manipulative, and it is really, really just wrong. It is really wrong.
In fact, in 2015, that was why they had to come to the aid of the Judicial Workers Union.
Yes.
Because they knew it was election time. Everybody came, beg. Then, you know, normal people, everybody went back to work. Like, okay, fine. Let's just do this for the nation. Let's do this for the polity. But now, it's time for them to do that. I mean, to pay back. And everybody's abdicating responsibilities. That's basically what it is.
And the cycle just has to stop, because at some point you really just have to execute it. You can't keep saying that, okay, you know what, because you're gentle people, we'll have this done. Go back to your offices, and then another 6 years goes by, another 8 years goes by, or then we wait for another election cycle. We cannot also subject the judiciary to another election cycle, like we subject every form of governance in our country. That's when they know that they want to repair our roads, or maybe give us water, because another election cycle is on the way. We cannot subject the judiciary to that kind of sham. It is just embarrassing.
All right, when we talk about the issue of awareness and enlightenment, where Nigerians themselves can lend a voice to this based on superior argument and understanding, how much contribution will that make if Nigerians are very aware of this?
It will make a lot of contribution, in the sense that, I mean, the first one is, if you know that is your governor that is creating problems for you, well, the process of, the best you could do, you don't, now, part of this thing, Dikwe said something profound from the beginning, it's about control. If the governor has the legislature's money in his hands, he has the the judiciary's money in his hands, he will pay the piper, calls the tune. They would
we've seen where governors buy jeeps for judges, you know,
and they make
as a way of
these are things that come with the office
automatically.
It's automatic. You know, sometimes, I mean, a lot of times there's this, I think it's Jimmy Disu that comes on there and he goes like, why are they making a show of this thing? This thing comes with the office. The same governor gets his own Prados and nobody makes a show of it. Now, so, but it's part of what
it's like goodwill, you know, I like you guys and I want you, you know, just take that.
It's like showing that you're under me and let me give you some sweets, let me help you, let me help you.
It's been a few years.
And that's not the way it's supposed to be. So the only way the people, with this awareness, the only thing people could do is vote out the governor or the government. But you see, between now and then,
it's a long time.
And a few packs of noodles, things will change.
So which is
But
why
what are you,
which
are
is
you
why
saying is
which is
noodles,
why
the central party?
You know what this government or the governors, let me use the governors now, because right now the president, I mean, we all bash the president every day, but the man, like Pilate, he's gone like, my hands are clean. On this, so the president is clean. So the governors are the problem of the judiciary as at today. Now, so what we need to do, what the people need to do is just to like vote out these people. But between now and the polls, like I said, a lot of things will change. Now, the governors have so impoverished the people that when they do their normal work, people come out and praise them. The governor is not paid to drink coffee. He's not paid to sit down in the office. He's paid to work. A governor does a road, that is his job. But they come up with all funfair and they start beating drums. He's done this. Fine, you could say because the previous administrations didn't do anything is worth celebrating. But the celebration shouldn't last more than 1 second. Then what's the next thing? Now, so, but you see, the people have been so impoverished that the same governor that you're, look at people, they will come and say, we will do this, we'll ban out. You just come, okay, my people, give you something, call the leadership,
and then they go home.
Take this. Before you know it, the leaders will go, let's go, he will do it. And not you wait another 4 years. So I think the poverty in the system is so bad, and they're playing carrot and stick with it. So that's where the problem is. So the people can't really come out and, because in saner crimes, these are things that, these are issues that can make you vote out someone. But here, with noodles,
things are sorted out. And speaking of the way they use the election time as a tool. That's why I kept saying that it is quite auspicious that this strike is coming at this time, because it isn't close to an election period where they can get to buy their way out of it or talk their way out of it. So if they really want to get it done, you make sure that they get it done, and they get it done thoroughly right now, not having to stall till the election period and then they use it to buy some goodwill, and then some people say that, oh,
maybe judiciary workers should have waited until election time to go on that strike, is it?
But
no, they would have been.
It
will have been quite manipulative.
Okay.
In that regard.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Olatunbosun Oshifowora, thank you so. Olutunbosun, sorry, thank you very much for coming on the program. I really appreciate you. Dick Boyewole, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Right.